I'm doing a smoke test on this 2004 Subaru Forester XT. It's a turbo model, obviously. Has a pretty bad misfire in all 4 cylinders, so just diagnosing. First thing I'm starting off with is the boost leak or vacuum leak test. I'll be using this. It's the Stinger smoke tester. I got it on eBay years and years ago. Seen its fair share of use. There's quite a few options on eBay or Amazon for under $100, and definitely worth it if you have a turbo car that you tinker with. So start off, I'm going to put this into the what's called service mode, I believe. Put it in like that, and then stick this in that little hole there, and that puts it much higher than it normally goes. So this is pretty straightforward. First, you want to take the air box off. I already undid that clamp there. And there's a bolt there, a bolt there that I've already undone. So just slide it out. So now I have this little adapter I've made. I believe it's just a 3-inch PVC of some sort, and I tapped a brass barb into there. And it fits perfectly in Subaru specific little intake boot here. Now, one thing to keep in mind is you can do it pre-MAF sensor. If you happen to do it pre-MAF sensor, it can get it quite oily, so it will need cleaned afterwards. So make sure that's tight. Put the tester up there. Hook it to positive and ground. There we go. Connect it to air, and it depends on the machine, but some of them produce their own air, some of them need a compressor. So this one in particular is for emissions and vacuum leak testing, not necessarily boost leak testing, so it has a regulator that I believe puts it to 3 psi. If you're doing it with any other tester or something that may go higher than a couple psi, do be careful, as you can damage evap components both in the front and back of the car, such as the evap system in the rear. So I'll give that a second. As you can see, quite a bit of smoke before I smoke the garage out. Helps to have a light. As you can see it much better with the light there. So I recommend having some sort of light nearby just to identify any leaks you may have. So this one's pretty easy. Just connect it in there. This one uses mineral oil. It smells pretty awful, so I'd recommend gloves. So we'll open the valve there. Can you hear it running? Oh wow. As you can see, it's just pouring smoke out of there. So let's see where that's coming from. And I'm blowing the smoke so you can get a better view there. As you can see, that PCV hose just lightly split as it's just dumping smoke out. So this one was pretty easy to spot. I'm going to shut that off. It's best to do this in a place with no wind, as any wind may carry the smoke away. And some of the leaks are quite difficult to see. Let's see if I can get a better view from down there. Yeah, that hose is split right there. And maybe that's the cause of the misfire. So I've gone ahead and replaced the hose. As you can see, that was a pretty bad condition. Just threw a new one on there. And what I'll do now is I'll smoke check it, and this will just show if there's any additional leaks, which you can see pretty quickly. There's a pretty bad one down there that was aside from that original PCV hose. So let me shine the light down there. So a little hard to tell. Maybe the intake boot here, maybe closer to back there. It could also be the Y pipe that goes to the intercooler. So good we double checked, because if we fixed that, there would have been obviously still another pretty bad leak. And this car is severely misfiring. The whole engine shakes, so this would definitely explain the reason for that. So I'm going to shut that off. And didn't really see anything else. It's kind of hard to tell with all that going on. And I had actually done this car a few months back, and it passed. So checking everything just to make sure that, you know, you check, because especially with this, as it only does 3 psi, and I think these cars make around 10 psi. WRXs make, I think, 14 psi from factory. Sometimes there'll be a leak that this won't necessarily find, but you will still have. So it helps to really wiggle the hoses and just make sure you can see everything. And you definitely use a good light and do it in non-windy conditions, and that'll give you the best chance to finding any sort of vacuum leak or boost leak that you may have. And this should work on really any model, any turbo model Subaru similar to this. Even the ones with the plastic intake, it has a very similar intake boot, such as newer, I don't know, Legacies and Foresters and whatever else use the plastic intake.